Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Wang, and I'm really glad to have you here for Creative Chinese Language for Beginners. With more than 20 years of experience teaching creative thinking, I've found a really effective method that bridges the gap between pronunciation and characters in the Chinese language. This technique acts like a smooth pathway, connecting listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Most Chinese language classes tend to focus a lot on listening, speaking, and reading skills, but they often overlook the important connection between characters and their pronunciation. That leaves learners to figure out this link on their own. But you know what? As we dig deeper into how our minds work, something pretty interesting is happening when we bring pronunciation and characters together. So, here's what I'm doing to tackle this challenge. I'm introducing something called advanced organizers. This technique involves creating mental connections that combine sounds with visual representations, which really boosts memory and understanding. By guiding beginners in forming these connections, instructors can help them remember and rebuild the link between pronunciation and characters, which ultimately makes learning a lot simpler and more effective. Let's walk through an example. Before we continue, please take a moment to watch the following video.
Hello everyone. I am Dr. Wang. My Chinese name is
Wang Yongming,
which sounds like want, you, me. Through Uncle Sam's poster, it's easy for you to remember my name. Just add me after I want you, and it becomes I want you and me, displaying my Chinese name,
Wang Yongming. As you saw on the video, my full name in Chinese is Wang Yongming, and its pronunciation is similar to want, you, me. To make it easy for those who aren't familiar with Chinese, I've come up with a helpful way to remember and pronounce my name. Imagine the iconic I Want You poster featuring Uncle Sam. Now, just add and me after I want you, and you've got I want you and me. This clever technique forms a memorable hook that sticks in your mind, allowing you to recall both my name and how to say it. Think of it as a tool that bridges the gap, connecting my name to your memory. It's like a handy aid that improves both listening and memorization. Now, let's delve into something practical by examining one of the most frequently used greetings. In Mandarin, individuals use the phrase ni hao.
Ni hao,
which translates to, how are you? For learners who aren't familiar with Chinese, this meaning can be linked to the hand gesture demonstrated by the teacher. But here's where it gets a bit tricky. Matching characters with their pronunciations can be a bit of a challenge. During my classes, I present the developmental stages of calligraphy for most of the Mandarin characters. I use a series of drawings that effectively communicate the significance of each character and word in a respectful and visual manner. Now, let's delve into an intermediary that captures the pronunciation of you. Quite fittingly, it's akin to a needle pointing to you. The rationale behind this choice stems from the fact that the pinyin for you is
ni,
which bears a resemblance to the sound of a needle. So, why did I pick a needle, you may wonder? Well, picture this scenario as I offer the following explanation. The Chinese character for ni is a combo of two characters. The one on the left is ren, which means human. The drawing for human is a simple two-stroke sketch of a standing person with two legs. An intermediary for human in Mandarin could be
ren,
kind of like an icon of a person running. The other part on the right of ni is which also means you, and it was developed from the depiction of an arrow. The top part represents the arrowhead, the middle part resembles the arrow's body, and the strokes on the sides depict the arrow's tail. Imagine this ancient story. Represented a person standing on the opposite side, needing an arrow to point toward to protect yourself because might harm you. This tale connects the meaning and character of and when it comes to pronunciation, you can somewhat associate with arrow or visualize a person saying when struck. And now, let's transform that arrow into a needle, making it easier to link to the pronunciation of
ni,
as a needle points directly at you. In this narrative, you're associating the pronunciation of you in Mandarin with the image of a person who's being pointed at by a needle. From this story, you've acquired knowledge of three characters.
ren,
Resembles a running person, depicts an ancient individual standing on the opposite side, requiring an arrow to point toward for self-protection, and producing a sound like when struck. When you combine these two characters, you arrive at
ni,
in Chinese, representing someone being pointed at by a needle. Now, moving on to the second part of the Mandarin greeting, which sounds somewhat like how in the English greeting, how are you? This section is quite straightforward to remember. The character for this part of the Mandarin greeting is
好
which is a combination of two characters, the one on the left,
女
meaning female, and the one on the right,
子
meaning son. This reflects the traditional concept that having a wife and a son is considered fortunate. So, the meaning of
好
is good. The pictograph for
女
depicts a kneeling woman. We can use kneel as an approximation for its pronunciation. And we can use an image of a dancing woman to symbolize the character.
女
The pictograph for
子
resembles a baby stretching out its arms. To aid in both remembering how to pronounce it and what it looks like, we use the letter Z, conveniently the last letter in the alphabet. This connection might remind you of a newborn baby, the youngest addition to a family. Also, in cartoons, a string of Z's often indicates someone is asleep, providing a useful clue to remember that babies sleep a lot.
好
Is a fusion of two characters,
女
representing female, and
子
symbolizing son. This encapsulates the traditional idea that having a wife and a son is a positive aspect. Consequently, the essence of
好
translates to good. Now you've understood the meaning of three more characters,
女
which depicts a kneeling female ready to dance,
子
representing a son, and when you come across an image of a woman holding a son, it signifies a positive scenario.
好
This concept is regarded as good in Chinese culture. So, summing it up, my way of teaching creative Chinese language for beginners isn't just about speaking and listening. It's also about building a strong connection between characters, pronunciation, and understanding. By using some advanced techniques and visual tricks, learners can really enhance their journey of learning the language and make the process smoother and more effective. If you're curious about learning creative Chinese language, make sure to subscribe and follow my channel. I'll give you more examples of tricks to help you understand and remember the meanings of Chinese characters, so you can really get into the language and make it a part of you. Catch you next time.